That's my guest, Dr. Osman Bugaje, convener, Arewa Research and Development Project and a member of the House of Representatives. John Smith now, thank you so much for coming over.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, this security situation in Nigeria appears to be deteriorating. The abduction of the students in Kankara, Katsina State. By the way, you're from Katsina State.
I am.
It's a reminder of how bad things have been. What are your perspectives?
Amechi, almost everybody I've spoken to, or some people have spoken to me, the whole nation is in shock that such a thing can happen at a time when the Zabarbari massacre happened. And if it alerted the nation to the level of the deterioration of the security situation, one would have expected that would have gingered up the security institutions to take measures. And remember, the president went to Katsina, Daura, that same night when this event took place, as if it were the bandits daring the president himself in his own hometown. But what is even more shocking is that in this Zabarmari massacre, the president didn't go.
As in Borno State, the rice farmers.
Yeah. It's still, we are still dazed trying to find out what is happening. Is the president still human? He didn't go. I mean, people were issuing statements. What was he doing? Was he sick? If he was well, then what is his reason for not going? And suddenly it happened right in his own doorstep, so to speak. He didn't go. Has he lost empathy? Is he human? I mean, it's something that we simply cannot fathom. We cannot understand how can a human being, forget about the fact that he's even president, fail to be moved by such tragic incidences, one coming after the other. And remember, every day, without these instances, every day people get killed, women get raped, people lose their properties, people are frightened. In Katsina, that much I know, many our relatives in the villages don't sleep in their villages. By 5 o'clock, they start getting their food ready, everything past
5 p.m.
Yeah, 5 p.m. They move out in many of the villages. Some villages have completely been destroyed. There is not a single person there.
You said
okay, correct me if
no, yeah, he didn't go. You're quite right. He sent a high-powered delegation led by the Minister of Defense. Minister of Defense. The governor.
We have seen this before. How many times? And what happened thereafter? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's just amazing. I personally am still dazed. I'm still trying to find out, how does the president think? What is in his mind? What about the people immediately around him? Can't somebody speak to him? You mean we have nobody who can speak to the president and talk some sense into him? How can such a tragedy take place? Where on earth in the 21st century can such a tragedy happen? And a president, even if he was a military leader, would not be there himself to show the empathy and to speak to the responsibility that the state has. You have been elected by these people who have been slaughtered. They didn't elect you so that they can be slaughtered. They elected you so that you can protect them. And you can't protect them. You can't empathize, sympathize with their own family. You don't show any concern. You don't care. And you still want to be president? Okay, tell me, what are you going to be president for? Because human life is the ultimate, right? If that is lost, everything is lost. And so what are you there for? Your conscience should be pricking you. Say, okay, for goodness sake, what am I here for? What am I staying for? And we can extend the same question to the National Assembly. All the checks and balances that this constitution has provided
2 days
have
ago,
collapsed.
or was it yesterday? I think 2 days ago, they were complaining about the fact that they've made recommendations, not just the National Assembly. They've come out with options on what we could do to improve the security situation. A whole lot of them. They were expressing some form of frustration, as it were, that all these recommendations were ignored by the president.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? This is not the first time he has ignored them. He said he was going to, before the invitation to the House of Representatives, they issued a resolution that he should change his service chiefs, which is the right procedure, the proper thing to do. He didn't, right? What did they do? Nothing. And then after the Zarbarmari, because of the frenzy and because of the anger and because of so many things, the nation is all angry. Then they say, okay, the president must come now. He didn't go. And what did they do? The Senate said, you must take this resolution seriously. He didn't take it seriously. What are you doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
What do you think they can do?
Oh, there are many things they can do. But they don't have the courage to do it. They don't have the liver to do it. Because again, Amechi, let me take you back to something that I think is fundamental. When we were forming the APC, and I was in the committee, one of the things we tried to establish, to insist, is that in the formation of the party, we should choose people, even in the interim structure, based on competence. Yes, you will have the national spread. Yes, you will have the equity, gender balance, but look, you must prioritize competence, right? We offered this, we pushed it, the politicians refused. They brought something they call legacy party, and every politician was sending his own girl, his own boy, to man the posts so they can do the tricks and and this is how we lost it. Because the parties did not prioritize competence. Therefore, people who are elected in the National Assembly are not elected on the basis of competence. And the same with the appointment in the executive. And this is why this country is suffering. And will continue to suffer, will continue to go down the drain. This is why you have Ministry of Works and there is no work that's being done. You have Ministry of Labor, there is no strike that is being stopped. You have Ministry of what again? Nothing is happening.
Let's go back to the National Assembly. You said they don't have the courage. The courage to do what?
The courage to do the right thing. If the president is not performing, they have the powers to impeach the president.
That sounds unlikely because you mentioned.
I know they can't do it. They can't do it.
This is a National Assembly. This is a Senate that is so friendly with the president.
It's not. You see, they are not just friendly. I think the National Assembly is not taking its responsibility. It cannot do so because it doesn't have the moral standing to do so. The president doesn't take them for anything. And you can see the evidence. You can see the evidence. So if really they cannot do it, I think they should ask themselves, what are they doing there? Really? What are they? They are representatives of the people. The people are being killed. And the president doesn't care. And more people are going to be killed. And more people are going to be killed. And no work is being done. No labor conflict is being resolved. Nothing. No ministry is functioning. No institution is functioning. Look at the police. Look at the scandals. I have known this for the last over 10 years, that to get into the police you have to pay money. To get into the army you have to pay money. And this has been going on. So nobody has been removed. Just like I said again, and this is something really, you have somebody who is having an active case in the court for corruption. You pick him up from there. You make him a minister. A government that claims to be fighting corruption. I mean, for goodness sake, how can you figure out what is happening? And what that also says is that this regime has no sense of shame. If you have a shame, you will not be able to do the kind of thing unless you walk the streets.
Well, what could be behind the fear of the president by the National Assembly members? Of course, before now, a lot of politicians from northern Nigeria, for instance, have said they cannot run the risk of standing or moving against the president openly because of backlash.
I have said it again. our parties, our politics has no content, has no courage, has no conscience. And this is what happens when you put in people who have no courage, who have no conscience, and they're empty. This is what happens. They stick to that post. They make, it's not just making money, they milk the nation. And they stay there. And you see, when you block all chances, for example, you have the National Assembly to check and balance the executive arm of government. You have the Executive Council to check and balance the president. You have the senior citizens who, like civil society, can come together and say, now when all these things fail and citizens can't find any justice, you know what happens? Citizens' action. And this is not something that anybody organizes. It comes. It has happened in African countries. In Egypt, there was the Arabi revolt. In Sudan, 1964, it was military. People poured to the street and they removed him. We don't want that to happen, because when that happens, nobody is safe, Amechi. You are not safe, I'm not safe. Nobody is safe, because it's mob. We want this country to be fixed through processes so that we don't get to that stage.
Why do you think the president is fixated?
Honestly, I can't
returning the
understand.
service chief. Almost every other person.
The last time I saw the president,
changed them, but he's holding tenaciously.
I had the same question, and maybe the people around the president, those who see him, those who talk to him, should be able to tell the nation what kind of president he has become. The last time I saw him must have been some 5-6 years ago, before he was sworn in as president, and I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that he's behaving the way he is. I don't know why. I can't know why. But people around him should be able to tell us why. The ministers who are his kitchen cabinet should be able to tell us why. Those aides, his kith and kin, that is, they should be able to tell us why. And we should be able to invite them to the public. You should be able to ask one of them to come on this seat and to tell the nation what he thinks, or why he thinks the president behaved in the way he is.
Or the president himself talking to Nigerians. Another criticism of the president, that communication has not been as fluid as should be.
Maybe because I read a bit of history, it reminds me of the slave plantation, where the slave master does what he wants and nobody asks him any question. He can kill, he can remove, he can do just anything. I mean, but he should know, even slave plantations were not sustainable. They could not sustain, because you can't suppress the human instinct. You can't. You can do so after a point in time, but you can't. And I worry about the fact that the checks and balances are not working, and because they're not working, what they are doing actually is you are inviting citizen action. I don't know when it's going to come. These are things that are not usually organized. We don't know who is going to do it, but it's going to have to come. If you insist in doing the kind of things you do, you ignore the country, as if they are not human beings, you can't talk to them, you have no empathy, and then nobody in the institutions that have been created to check and balance you can check and balance you. You just continue doing what you want, and look at where we are now. Naira is sliding. You know that if you try to go back to your state on the flights have more than tripled, and the economy is not working, the insecurity is big. So we're not going to, I don't know how long this situation can last. Which country can take this load of nonsense, as it were, and still stay where it is? We don't know.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, more issues to go into. Please do stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. The convener Arewa Research and Development Project, Dr. Usman Bugaje, has been with me. We are taking a look at the state of affairs in Nigeria's security issues, governance issues, and of course the recessed economy. Before we went on break, you were complaining bitterly about the inability of inbuilt checks and balances in our democracy to stand up and function effectively. How did we get to this point? We have practiced democracy uninterrupted for over 20 years. We should be moving to the next level now. How did we get to that point that institutions, persons, manning positions are not living up to expectations.
I mean, we no longer talk about next level, because next level has turned out to be disastrous. So we talk about next stage, or use any other synonym, but not next level, please, next time. Now, the issue of check and balances are so important. I think, I mean, democracy is built on that, and that creates a guarantee, if you like, against dictatorship, against irresponsibilities, against even incompetence. If you fail to deliver, you have got a check, you have got a balance, you have got ways that you can. That's the beauty of democracy. That's what makes democracy to be sustainable for some time, because it has those, you know, and the check and balances are not only the National Assembly, the Executive Council, even the, as I said, the Senior Assembly, but also the opposition parties. And here, the PDP, which is the biggest opposition party, has not played the role that opposition parties are expected. Expected of opposition parties is the fact that when the ruling party is failing, they come out with alternatives. And I have not seen an alternative from the PDP. What I hear from the PDP is the president should resign. Fair enough, let him resign. But what do you have to solve the problem? They don't even engage the nation as to their own ideas. And this again is another tragedy, because if the opposition parties are not having ideas, you know, on the table that can resolve issues, then what are they there for? I mean, it's not just there to simply organize elections and come into office. What is important is, what are you going to do when you get to the office? And part of the responsibilities of the PDP is to come up with alternative solutions. I have not seen them. I have not had them. And it's so important that they, I mean, simply telling the president to resign, everybody can say so. But as an opposition party, you are the alternative, so to speak, right? So if you can't provide that alternative, then you are asking other people to come and play that particular role, honestly.
So it appears is a systemic problem with our democracy.
Very much so. Very much so. And you know, I have said it again that, look, we have to, and time is running out as far as I can see, and I don't claim to see everything, but from what I can see so far, time is running out. If we cannot fix the politics of this country by 2023, I can't see how this country can sustain, because we are already down and out. If we succeed in getting to 2023 in one piece, and I hope we do, then the next step, we must fix our politics. And there are three key important things that we have to do. We have to provide content to our politics. We have to shift from the politics of big men, which is what is playing out now, to the politics of big ideas. In the 21st century, knowledge is the greatest capital. And we have got to produce ideas. It's ideas that shape the world, that move the world, that move the economy. Therefore, we have to provide content to our politics. We have to prioritize competence. Parties should not just simply allow anybody to come and contest for any post. Yes, there is what they call eligibility by the Constitution, but eligibility alone does not, you know, allow you to deliver. What allows you to deliver is suitability. Are you suitable for the post you are applying? So we have to move away from eligibility again to suitability, because it's that suitability that allows you to confront and meet and resolve the challenges of that particular time. You find somebody who has barely finished secondary school. He has no experience whatsoever. He cannot even communicate effectively, even in his own mother tongue. And then you ask him to represent a people. He doesn't understand budget processes. He doesn't understand international communications. He doesn't understand so many things. And then you ask him
even governance processes.
Yeah, government process. So how does he even perform? How does he represent his own people? You know, it's not that these people don't have somebody more competent. It's just simply that the leadership recruitment system is flawed. It's only people who either have money or connection that get, you know, to that. So we have to block that, and we have to create a process which prioritize competence. From the people who are going to man the political parties, they have to come on the basis of competence. To the people who are going to be invited on the platform of that particular political party to contest for post. They must be competent. If you are going to Senate, there has to be a qualification that suits the Senate, and parties should develop those qualifications. After all, if you are going to employ a manager to man your current affairs division here in AIT, you are not going to pick from your village, you are not going to take your relative, you are going to advertise, and you will put qualifications, isn't it? Sometimes you say you must have 10 years experience, 15 years experience, and you're going to even have a panel here in AIT or anywhere to interview the person, right? To confirm his suitability for this post, because you want your own station to be properly managed. You don't want to be to be shabby, and people will shun away, and you wouldn't be able to compete with the other media. So it's simple and straightforward. We do it every day in our own private companies, but why can't we do it in public?
For instance, why shouldn't we want, if we are looking for a CEO of even a small and medium enterprise, we search out to pick the best.
Yeah,
but if we are looking for a governor or a member of the House of Representatives, we just throw in anybody. You're talking of fixing the politics before 2020.
It has to be fixed. Otherwise, I can't see what's going to happen, because I don't know. We are really down and out. I mean, look at the economy. Look at the economy.
So some persons have said perhaps we have to fix the structure of the country even before the election in 2020.
Fair enough. Restructuring is a very important agenda. We should not shy away from it. And it's something actually that has been happening. It's not that it has never happened and people are trying to make. No, it's a continuous business. It's just like the amendment of the Constitution. You don't have a Constitution that is fixated, and runs through. No, as you grow, as you gain more experience, as you run through challenges, you come back and say, okay, we need to adjust this, we need to correct this, we need to do that. And it's a continuous thing. It's part and parcel of our growth and development. So I mean, many of us welcome it, but you see, even in doing that, you have to be guided by the knowledge. And ordinarily, the National Assembly should take the lead and do that, because they can do the amendments in the Constitution. But you can see, they're just sitting there watching. We don't even know what they feel about it. They don't speak. We don't understand what they are doing, and maybe they don't even understand what restructuring means. I mean, I've had comments from people that appear not to even understand what it is all about. But these are all part of the challenges that we have to fix before we get to 2023.
So do we have the ample time to fix the politics, fix the structure of the country? Because the general elections are 26 months away.
I mean,
it sounds long, but in practical terms,
my view is that when there is a will, there will be a way. If we want to do it, we can do it. It can be done.
And do you think the present National Assembly has got the will?
Now, this is a question I can't answer, but I have my doubts, because from what has happened recently, I can see that really I'm now beginning to wonder really of what use are they? What are they even doing there? Right? They pass a budget, or they will be passing a budget very soon, but what does that translate to? How many budgets have they passed? How has that helped our roads? How has that helped our security? How has that helped the education? How has that helped anything? I don't know if they also ever think, sit down to evaluate their own work. But now the president has exposed them for what they are. They are of no use. They have done everything they can to check and balance the president. They've just simply been ignored, and they are not able to do anything.
Is it that they played into the hands of the president in the way and manner they emerged as the leadership of the National Assembly, with the full support of the president and the party, and their statements that the president is going to enjoy their full support?
Well, this president is fascinating. The first time he said he has no business with, no interest in the National Assembly leadership, right? You recall that?
Yeah, and whoever emerges is going to work
exactly. And then people emerged and he refused to work with them. You remember, I mean, the tension was very obvious. And now, I don't know whether he has changed his policy. The people who emerged seem to be very friendly and seem to have enjoyed his support right from the beginning. Fair enough. That should even make work, it should make them to work more closely and produce something tangible. On the other hand, we have not seen the fruits of this. And you can see it has reached that point now where basically the executive arm have completely ignored the legislature. So if the legislature cannot flex its muscles and do what it needs to do, tell me what again is it there for? It's just like the executive sitting down there consuming money. You know, all the people around the president are becoming richer and richer. Some are buying aircraft. This is what we hear. This is what we see. And the nation is becoming more and more impoverished. People are becoming, and I had occasion to tell somebody up in government in a meeting, I said, you know what you've been doing? You have been impoverishing the society. You have been killing, suffocating the society. Since you came, I cannot see anything that we have done that I can say is capable of making this country grow and develop. And I said, the danger is, and I quoted James Baldwin, the black American writer. I think he wrote Fire on the Mountains or Fire Next Time. He said, you know, the most dangerous person in any society is somebody who has nothing more to lose. And this is what we are producing. Imagine those villages that have been completely ransacked and burnt down. The IDPs are there. They have lost everything they have. Some have lost their father. Some have lost their mother. Some have been traumatized by the rapes that have taken place. So these are people that we are producing every day in numbers that we have not even quantified.
And he who is down needs fear of no fall.
Exactly. So what more? What else do they have to lose? Nothing. They have lost everything.
It could drive them to extremism.
Exactly. They can do just anything.
From our Twitter feed, Otunsek says the major problem of Nigeria now is the cognitive health of the president. Those running the government for him are not interested in Nigeria, but they collect rent from political appointees. He's raising fundamental issues there. There are some few prominent Nigerians that have also raised questions about the cognitive health of the president. And a while ago, you talked about the president you knew before he went into power. You interacted extensively with him and the president now. What do you think is the problem?
I honestly cannot answer that question, Amici. I wish somebody can come forward and tell us what is wrong with the president. And I take it that there are people with constitutional responsibility to do that. There are security agencies that are supposed to be following on that and doing something about that. And there are, he must have a medical team that should also be doing something, evaluating him and helping him to stay healthy so that he can run the country properly. So I really don't know, but I expect that, like I said, the ministers that are close to him, the aides that are working with him, if they are still in their senses, they should also be able to be worried.
Are they running? These people around the president, are they running? Because Otunsek is making reference to the fact that there are those running the government, the country for the president. Do you think there are those that are usurping and have usurped presidential powers?
I don't think this country is being run, Amici. If what he wrote means that they are sacking the government, I mean, he might be right. But I don't think they are running the government. Because if you run a government, we will see the results. But look at what we are seeing.
Taking decisions in the name of the president.
Even if they're doing well, for me, honestly, that's good enough. Why not? If he outsources his responsibility to people who are competent, fair enough. He will deliver. But if you are abandoning your responsibility and some stupid fellow somewhere who doesn't know anything is making a mess of it, then that's even double jeopardy.
How do we resolve the security problem in the northwest, in the northeast, across Nigeria? A lot of suggestions on change of security chiefs, alter the security architecture. Are there things? What are the things we can do in the interim and in the long term to do permanently?
There are many suggestions that have been given. I am part of a northern security monitoring committee, and after the Zabarmari massacre, in fact it was after the I'm not too sure now, maybe after before the Zabarmari massacre, there was a meeting of this committee and beautiful ideas were given by experts, former generals, former assistant commissioners, assistant inspectors of police, former researchers, professors. I mean, beautiful ideas, but after we finished, we don't know where to go with it. We don't know who to give it to and how to even follow up, because the military hierarchy are averse from, to any particular idea. They speak out of arrogance, you know. You remember what, their chief said, that Boko Haram will continue for 20 years, as if he's part of Boko Haram. Because otherwise, how can you speak on their behalf? Right? But, so ideas are there, but we don't know where to take them to. Where do you take them to?
Or where you take them to that they receive attention?
Yeah. I mean, we decide to just make them public. If the security agencies want to pick on them and work on them, fine. If the National Assembly wants to pick on them and work on them, fine. But clearly one of the clear points is that there is no coordination. Even as they are at the moment, they are not coordinating in what they do.
So better coordination. What are the other salient recommendations that you came up with?
What we hear and what some of the people in the military confirm, that there are no equipment and there are no men on the ground. There are no equipments. People who battled the Kankara, the army were there in Kankara, even when the abduction was taking place. They engaged them, but they didn't have enough firepower to overpower them. Now imagine ragtag army coming on motorcycles, or so we had, who, are trained, so soldiers are sent out there without enough ammunition. The day after Kankara, in Askira Uba, probably you read that on the news, there was, the Boko Haram team came into Askira Uba. They prayed even the night prayer there, which means they were relaxed. They had no challenge, right? They took food, they took God knows what, but the military were informed hours before this thing was happening. And the military post that was supposed to have been the guarantee, you know what they did? They ran away. They left their military vehicles, they left whatever ammunition, they left everything, and the Boko Haram came and carted it away. As if they had made a deal that, okay, run away, we'll pick this and we'll pay you this much. I don't know. It sounds like that. How can
there's no evidence to suggest that. That's
fine, but what, how do you explain?
Maybe we also see the military record some successes, not just to highlight some of the good work they're doing.
Amechi.
but what you said is in line with what the Sultan of Sokoto came up with. Was it last week that the Boko Haram even and bandits have time to go to the market, engage in some transactions, get their changes and move on as if life is normal?
Exactly. And now you are saying the military are this or that, or I really can't find a word to support what these people are doing. Okay, if you do one operation successfully and you fail in 10, how can that be good?
Is it a lack of equipment, or
clearly there is lack of
equipment? Clearly don't have the numbers in terms of number of boots on ground.
Precisely.
What about the ground, the commitment?
No equipment. And remember, billions of dollars in this administration have been made available, have been appropriated and given and announced. Where have they gone? Where is the equipment? Can't we start a probe? Where is the EFCC? Where is the ICPC? And then you come and say you're fighting corruption. Oh my God. Subhanallah.
We have to find a way of getting out of this. The US is coming up with some airplanes, the Super Tucano, and there were complaints even from the Minister of Information and Culture that our friends at the international level are not helping in terms of sale of arms and ammunition.
But didn't he say why they are not helping? It's okay they are not helping, but why?
He didn't provide that explanation.
He should come here, Amici, and tell us why.
There could be some strong reasons behind it.
Precisely. That's the point. That's the point. We need to know why. They are not stupid. So if they are not supplying, if they are not helping, why? Let us ask the question.
Okay, well, what are your thoughts about 2023 presidential elections?
Honestly, my thoughts are with the security situation at the moment. Because if we can't sort this out, I can't see how elections can even take place. That's one. Two, if we cannot fix the parties, fix the political processes, I can't see how 2023 will make any difference. Because we are going to have more of the same rot that we have at the moment. I know everybody is, there are governors in their second term who are now clamoring to become presidents. There are these who are, and you know what? They are using the state resources to collect money for campaigns. And this is impoverishing the society the more, and is creating more dangerous people in the process. And so I really can't see how 2023 will happen without three major things. One, without fixing the security issue. Two, without fixing the political processes and changing the way things are being done, changing the leadership recruitment process, and without addressing the economy.
So priorities should go to these areas, but the politicians, you can't stop them from thinking of the next election.
No, I agree. Let them think about the election, but let them think about how is it going to happen if you do not do these particular things. How?
Okay. I think we can end it here for today. Dr. Usman Bugaje is a convener, Arewa Research and Development Project, and a former member of the House of Representatives. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my
pleasure. We hope we'll make our country a better place to live in, and all your expectations are about fixing the structure.
Yeah, we hope, but we have to also work for it. Even as citizens, we have to work for it. We cannot just simply sit there.
There's a rule for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's it for today. My name is Ame Chanapwe. Have a good time.